Hi, I'm Randy Reid, editor of the Edison Report, and I am here with Dan Darby, the show director of LightFair. Dan, welcome.
All right. It's great to see you, Randy.
All right. Dan, the big news, of course, is LightFair every other year. Tell our audience a little bit about that decision and how you and your team and your partners came about that decision.
Sure. Well, just a little background on LightFair and the management. We actually have a board of directors, the management committee, and that's made up of representative of the owners and voting members. And so the management committee always comes together to consider really what they perceive to be best for the lighting industry. And a part of our conversation this year was product introduction cycles. You know, we were hearing, from larger manufacturers as well as smaller manufacturers that technology is just not advancing as rapidly, certainly not as rapidly as it did, say, in the last decade. And because of that, there just was not a need for them to have an annual light fair at this time. So again, responding to our industry, that was the decision that management committee made. And the response has been great.
Well, every year Mark Lean puts together something for the progress report, and he compares the new product launches. And over the last several years, it just continues. The submissions to the IES progress report continue to drop and drop and drop. So I do think that does make a statement for the industry, and I commend you for the decision.
Well, we saw that also in the Lighting Innovation Awards, which is LightFair's awards.
Sure.
The number of entries were just not as robust as they had been in previous years.
Right.
Because the product launches were just not there.
And I know in 2019, my company, Lume Efficient, won an award, so that tells you about the quality of submissions that
congratulations for that.
that you've been receiving. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the dynamics and the management. So IES owns a third of LightFair,
Right.
IALD owns a third of LightFair, and IMC owns a third of LightFair.
Right.
And every organization has 2 votes.
Correct.
Was it unanimous?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I mean, it was a robust conversation.
Okay.
What to do in the odd year. I mean, the even years. Is there something to do in the even years? How do we plan for the next event? But again, what's best for the lighting industry is always paramount for the management committee.
Okay. And how did it come about? How long had it been in active discussions? Because I think I've told you privately, in 2002 when I was president, it was being discussed, and we shut down that discussion. We were scared to death. We shut it down as fast as we could. You guys engaged it, embraced it, and acted on it. So how long was this decision-making process?
Back to the consideration, honestly, it was one of the very first things I heard from manufacturers when I came into this role.
Which was
as well.
What year?
2019. So yeah, it's certainly been a topic of conversation for decades. I'd say that the initial conversation was in June. We had a strategic meeting here. I'm sorry, not June, April. We had a strategic meeting here in Atlanta with all of the partners. But really, the consideration did not start until after we had a management committee meeting in August. So it was a relatively robust but short-term conversation.
Robust but short-term.
Yeah.
So over months?
Over a few months, yeah.
Okay. What I would like to do is to tell you that you are the 2022 Person of the Year for the Edison Report.
Really?
For your decision. And again, I know it's a team decision, but you are the leader.
Wow.
And I just want to congratulate you.
Wow, I am stunned,
you are in good company with a lot of CEOs and other leaders in our industry.
Wow.
But this is why I'm here today.
Wow, Randy, thank you very much.
Well,
on behalf of the LightFair tax team, very excited. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to get back to work.
Okay.
And now we're going to get some tough questions for you.
Okay.
What about the manufacturers? How have they responded? Are you seeing an increase in signups?
Yeah, actually, our response that we've seen is the same response that you reported on. You did a poll immediately after the results, the announcement, and those results are what we're seeing. Literally, our average sales per week has doubled since the announcement. Yeah.
Okay, so if I may, we're in December, the show is in May, so we're 6 months out, if my math is right. How does that compare to prior shows 6 months out as far as signups?
I would love to give you where we're pacing, but we can't pace because of the pandemic.
Sure.
We started way behind. But I'll tell you, we got 2 contracts just yesterday. We're in the month of December, where typically a decision maker will say, let's just wait till the end of the new year. And we're not hearing that. We're still getting contracts in. I mean, nearing North America, EcoSense, a strong win back.
Oh, EcoSense. I wasn't aware.
Kurtzan, Kasambi's in, Gillender Glass, Vode, back in the collective. These are all contracts that have come in since the announcement.
I was with Vode last week in London, and they had a wooden booth exhibit, and then at the end of the show they were giving it away.
Oh, really?
So people could actually take a cabinet home with them on the tube or however they'd have it delivered. But I thought that was a great, you talk about a sustainable booth, so they allow people to take it home and reuse it.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
It'll be interesting to see what they do at LightFair. All right, what about the even years? You started to talk about the even years. Is there going to be anything that LightFair or IES or IALD will do in those even years?
I can't speak for the associations. You know, they already have their annual events, the annual conference and Light in America and Street and Area Lighting Conference already. Our plan for the even years is to be planning LightFair. You know, simply saying that the show is going to go to a biennial cycle doesn't mean we can just cancel the even years and everything else is status quo. I mean, we will be out of the marketplace for a year. And what that means is we have to continue to develop a more compelling show for all of our constituents. You know, we were talking about 2019 when I came on board. IMC has only been a partner since 2018. But since IMC has been a partner, we have been proactively asking our exhibitors and our attendees, you know, what can we do to make the most important show in the industry even more indispensable, even more important? And we've been executing those. I mean, you reported extensively on how we cleaned up the floor with less international OEMs. But we introduced the collective, which is a benefit for LIRC and IES sustaining members. We eliminated the registration fees for association members. It should be a perk of their membership. You know, their association owns the show. If you're an exhibitor, you know, I'm sure you're happy about the online space selection. You know, exhibitors used to spend 4 hours on the second day of the show selecting space. That was 4 hours out of their booth. Well, that detracts from their return on the show. So we're continuing to introduce things that makes the show more compelling and a greater return. And we're going to be spending our off years devoted to LightFair. I mean, LightFair needs to be a bigger tent. You know, we need to have more manufacturers. We need to have more lighting disciplines. We need to have more products that are in industries adjacent to lighting but would be of interest to our attendees.
NYC by Design.
NYC by Design is a great example. Yeah.
Okay. You mentioned about an increase of return. But in a way, it's not an increase of return to your partners. It's less revenue by every other year, and the fact that you don't charge a registration fee for the IES and IALD members, that also is less revenue. So that's a less return for your partners. Right.
We are investing in the show. That is the easiest way to say it. You know, is a LightFair 2025 going to be twice the size of a potential LightFair 2024? No. But what can we do to continue to increase the show's value for all of our constituents?
The only complaint that I hear is the West Coast. Some on the West Coast say, you know, what about us? How do you respond to that?
Well, the message I would give the West Coast or really anyone in the U.S. and to the entire lighting industry is, you know, the show is evolving. And regardless of where the show is next year or any year, I don't want anyone to miss it.
Regardless of where it is.
Regardless of where it is. It's every other year and you don't want to miss it.
It seems like in 2020 or 2021, you told me that you had contracts between Las Vegas and New York going out through 2029.
Correct.
Was I correct on that? And how did you get out of the Las Vegas contract?
We're still talking with Las Vegas. You know, IMC, which is our company, produces events, you know, in Las Vegas as well. So we are talking with Las Vegas about what we need to do with those contracts. In New York, we have letters of intent, so it's not quite as the same in New York. Were we to look at that location?
Okay. Tell our audience some of the direct changes that IES has made to the conference.
a lot of changes and great changes. Brianne Musselman, Director of Education and Standards at IES, is the architect for our conference. And
she's a really bright person.
She's amazing.
Got to know her, very bright.
She's amazing. And together with Christopher at IALD, they put together an extraordinary conference advisory committee. And they have come up with the themes, or multidimensional interrelationships, as I've been taught to say, for the conference coming up. And these are really areas that a lighting professional would consider as they go through their daily jobs. And so there is a graphic of it, but the first area being business. What is my career development? My certifications and my training and my professional and personal development, and from there go to process. The collaboration and the tools that I need as I develop this project, this installation, and then the three areas of consideration: technology. What are the elements? What is the data? Art. What is the inspiration for the installation? And then finally science. Perhaps what are the psychological or the biological considerations that we would want to consider. So the exciting thing is these are the same areas, the same themes that IES and IALD use in their own educational programs. So we're expecting to see cohesion now between the LightFair conference and our owners' own educational things, which we haven't had in the past.
And do you think the exhibitors will get on board and use those themes in their booth as they're introducing products?
I don't know, but I would love to see that. Certainly the manufacturers are already involved, because so many of the manufacturers, do submit ideas for the conference. So right. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Tell our audience some other changes or expansions that you have with partnerships.
Well, this is, I think, a really exciting change. Our Lighting Innovation Awards, which we've done, at every show, managed, beautifully by Mark Roush. The change this year is, traditionally, we've always announced the award winners at the show. And the difference this year is we're going to announce the winners before the show. The goal is to announce them at the end of April. The reason for this is the winning manufacturers will actually have the opportunity to market their win ahead of time. So their clients and their prospects can actually know and be invited to the booth to see the winning product.
Award-winning product.
Right.
Great idea.
So yeah, it's a much, I think, savvier marketing opportunity.
Okay.
For the LIA winner.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about NYC by Design being co-located. How does that work, and how many people come into the city for that show?
So NYC by Design is actually a 5-borough event, and it takes place over 10 days. In years past, they've attracted upwards of 250,000 participants. I think last year they had 160. They're rebuilding as well.
Wow.
But these are designers across the entire design world, and so our goal is to bring in designers who are possibly interested in lighting design or who are interested in collaborating with lighting designers. We're co-located with ICFF, which is the International Contemporary Furniture Fair. Again, these are designers who typically would design spaces in hotels or lobbies of spaces. So again, people who are not necessarily in lighting design but would collaborate with lighting designers.
So if a person attending the ICFF has a ICFF badge, they will be able to come to LightFair?
It's two different registration companies, so what they'll be able to do is simply go to our registration counter and be immediately rebadged.
Okay, but they can come?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
They can come?
Yeah, and we're working with ICFF. They're back and forth to make sure this is as seamless as possible.
Can lighting people go to the furniture show?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
We still hear that some people prefer legication because of the lower cost. What's LightFair's response to that?
Well, similarities or comparisons will be inevitable. Both events are in New York next year. I'd say the difference is retention of information. A trade show is about time and efficiency, and after the event, what information have I retained? And if I'm looking to learn about innovation, it's much easier to do that if I'm surrounded by it in a booth, or if I'm immersed in it in an educational session, either at IES Live or the Designery or our conference, our 5-day conference. That's simply not possible standing in front of a tabletop. Regional product fairs don't offer that immersive experience that an event like LightFair offers. You can schedule your entire day around something that you're interested in, and then again hit IES Live, IALD Designery, the 5-day conference, and our booths, and really retain that information after the show, which is what you go to a show for in the first place.
The mood is electric tagline. I really like that.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with it?
We have a great marketing agency and a great marketing team that came up with it. But yeah, I like it too. The mood is electric. It's intended to convey, the buzz, the energy that'll be on the show floor at Javits when passionate designers and architects and specifiers, all get together. And from there, I guess it really extends the event experience to New York City itself, which is very electrifying. It's a design hub, and really to the caliber of innovation that our show attracts.
Okay. And when we're talking about the caliber of innovation, let's talk a little bit about immersive. Tell our audience how that's going to work.
The immersive lighting installations. Okay, so this was actually a proposal from IALD. This year, both association owners have really come forward with ideas and suggestions, and not only ideas and suggestions, but volunteering to manage all of these things. And so the immersive lighting installations is one of these. The theme is circular economy. And just to back up a little bit, so as the construction and architectural industries look to reduce environmental impact, circular economy, becomes a theme. And so the lighting installations are asked to consider circular economy not only in their concept but also the physical presentation of their work. I would love to give you the list, but it's not finalized. I can tell you, we originally had 4 installations planned for the show floor. We then increased it to 6. We've finally increased it to 8, and that's just because of the people, the companies that submitted interest. We just couldn't say, okay, this one, but not that one. They were just so good.
Okay, but you are going to cap it at 8?
We're capping it at 8.
And will it be in one area of the show?
No, it's going to be around the show floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, can't wait for that. And then the IALD Designery, you mentioned that a little bit earlier. Explain to our audience what goes on in the Designery now.
So again, this is an example of one of the associations who's just coming forward and saying, this is something we would like to take on. We introduced the Designery in 2021 at the New York show there, and it was our first foray into really providing robust education on the show floor. The goal is to make the show floor even more sticky. We like attendees on the show floor. They stay around our exhibits.
And exhibitors sure like that.
Exactly. Happy exhibitors, happy show. So what the difference will be is we'll still have a stage, we'll still have seating for presentations, but the content will evolve, and the layout too. I don't want to share too much about the layout because it is designed as an installation by IALD. Again, there'll be a stage, there'll be seating, an audience area, but there'll also be smaller areas for collaboration. The Designery will be IALD's de facto booth. This is their booth on the show floor. And it's going to be an opportunity for the members to connect, to talk, to collaborate. And there'll be design lighting within the Designery. So it's going to be, again, an immersive experience.
Well, I've been able to get to know Chris Knowlton, their, I think his title is Chief Executive Officer? CEO. And I tell you, he's a very bright and enthusiastic guy.
Yeah.
And I used to be worried about IALD a few years ago, but I think they're back in a big way.
They've got a great executive team. Both associations have a great
Andrea
executive
Hartranft
team.
is the new president-elect.
Yeah.
Well, there is a rumor going around about LightFair.
Okay.
Have you?
There's always rumors about LightFair. What is it?
The rumor, I'll read it.
Okay.
The rumor is that the EdisonReport will host their Lifetime Achievement Awards on the Javits rooftop.
I have actually heard that would be a fantastic event for sure.
Has that been approved yet?
I can tell you without a doubt, the Javits Center has been asked for its availability.
Okay.
So we do not yet have an answer.
We don't have an answer on that one yet.
Okay, well, we would love to have it.
Okay.
Okay, well, Dan, I want to congratulate you on everything you guys have done.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You have really done, I think, the industry a tremendous favor. I think it was a very hard decision, and I know, again, your partners were right there with you, but you're kind of the leading face, if you will, for LightFair. So I want to just congratulate you on the decision that y'all made.
Thank you, Randy.